Welcome to Beat School. I'm Chris B. Thank you for tuning in to our material. If you like what you hear and what you see, please click our subscription button below and we'll be providing you with more content weekly. So let's go ahead and get into the topic of today. So today, I want to talk about tips for handling test anxiety in college. Tip number one, right before your test, right before you're about to take your test, take 3 to 5 minutes to review your notes. When you review your notes, I want you to scan through all of your notes. Try to look at any major topics that stand out, any major associations that stand out to you, any annotations that you've made on your note set, anything that really stands out, highlighted words, starred words, underlined, anything in your note set. The thinking that you want to have is there's always one more point that you can gain on your test. So if you can reinforce any knowledge that you have by scanning over your notes just right before you're handed your test, that will benefit you greatly. Number two, breathe. A lot of people don't do this. Believe it or not, it's so simple. You have to breathe right before. Now, what happens is when you don't breathe, you limit the amount of oxygen that's able to go to your brain. You'll also notice that your posture may become more slumped and you're limiting the ability for your body to be able to bring in oxygen and bring oxygen to your brain. Let's walk through what happens through that process. So you're about to take your test. You're freaking out. You're getting anxious. You're nervous. Your chest cavity caves in. And you're limiting the amount of oxygen that you're breathing in. So now you're shallow breathing. You're missing breaths. Now you're not able to send as much oxygen to your brain. So now you're handed your test. Once you're handed your test, you freak out because you don't remember any information that you went over or any of the information that you were taught in class. And so now you're in full out panic mode. So you don't want to do this at all. Before your test, again, you want to expand your posture a little bit. Take deep breaths. Take a few deep breaths in and out. There you go. You want to calm down and let that oxygen flow to your brain. So once you do that, you're better able to understand concepts that you were taught. You're better able to remember information and piece things together. Number three, you want to minimize it. Minimize the significance of your test. Okay, it's the final exam or whatever. But what you want to do, let's think about maybe you have something going on after the test. Maybe you're going to a party after the test later on that night. Or maybe you're going out of town on vacation. Or maybe you're going to go to get something to eat that's really delicious. You want to think of all those things because you want to take the attention away. You want to take the emphasis away from this major test that you're about to take. I like to also think of it from this type of perspective. Let's say that if I had somebody squeezing one of my fingers as tight as they could, it would hurt it would really be painful. And so they're squeezing that finger. Okay. And I'm having a lot of pain that's being generated because of that. Then I have somebody else who comes and squeezes this finger. And that hurts really bad. So the thing is, I have two people squeezing on two different fingers on separate hands. It's taking away my focus from one source of pain. So I can't focus on both sources of pain at the same time. Utilize that same analogy when you're diverting your focus away from your test. Again, we're thinking of those things that are going to that we're going to be doing after our test. Maybe you're going to a party again, or maybe you're going out, or whatever it is. Divert your focus so that you minimize the significance, you minimize the emphasis on that test, because you can do it. I mean, it's almost like a cheat technique to be able to maximize your ability to do well on your test and not overcomplicate it. Number 4, when you receive your test, turn it face down. And most likely, most students will either have a blank page or they'll have some space on the back of their test where they're able to write down. If you don't have any space, and your professor or teacher provides you with scratch paper, you can write on that. What I want you to do is to take that space and write down every single concept that you can remember as it pertains to your exam. Write every single thing, everything that you can think of, analogies, experiences, any study material, any ways that you remember information. You want to write as much as you can. The goal is to fill up at least half of the page that you have. You can definitely do more than that. You could do less, but I suggest targeting at least half of a page worth of information. And the reason this technique is so useful is because you haven't seen a question yet. So before you see any question, you already have a bank of information that you're able to draw from. And now what happens is once you're able to have that information on paper and you turn your test over, now you see your questions and you can go through your questions and you won't lose your train of thought. And then you can refer to the back of your test for more information. Now, what happens with most students, or some students at that, is that once they have their test, they look at the first question and then information just goes right out of their minds. So you want to utilize this method to help you to have a focused thought and to help you to be able to benefit from that knowledge that you have and to prevent information from escaping your mind. Number 5, you're going to want to talk to your peers. Of course, not during your exam, but before or after your exam, talk to your peers and figure out what methods work for them best. How do they minimize the emphasis on their test? How do they handle the stress of taking your test or any anxiety or nervousness that they feel? You'd be surprised. Every student has their own technique or has their own way of doing this. So the more that you're able to utilize or have more techniques available to you, the more techniques that you're able to use for your own test taking privilege. So there you are. Those are your 5 ways to beat test anxiety. Thank you all for tuning in to our video. Again, if you like our content, please click our subscription button below. We love subscribers. You can check out more of our information on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at WeBeatSchool. Again, that's at WeBeatSchool. Also, check out our website at beatschoolcollege.com. Again, thank you for tuning in. Have fun beating school.